No, I do want to add on to the last one. It's like, even though there's more light, I feel like, being shined on the fact that mind control does happen and does fry up your nervous system and does, you do feel like you're being monitored and gang stalked and ridiculed and gossiped and stolen from, and all these things occur. And if you're intuitive on top of it and fairly sensitive, everything starts to get fried 10 times as bad. It's just a disaster. And so I feel like people do end up seeking out help or feeling like they're going truly insane. And all this happens, and it all happens with an awakening. It all happens with many different things. And, they talk about MK Ultra, which I don't know a ton about, but the little I do sounds too eerie and too familiar and too too accurate. And what's that going to do? Like, people deny, or they're not going to. In other words, all of it almost becomes another measure of exhausting you and your energy if you try to look into it or fight it or understand all this. And it doesn't matter. There's enough people who understand it and know how to, quote, work the system or to mess with other people's minds and so forth, that it's like the only way to really love yourself and protect yourself is to go in and do that work and take control of your body and your mind. And it's something you do need to do on a daily basis, right? That's the idea of meditation. That's the idea of a lot of these practices, because it's the idea of it's the only way to cover yourself, protect yourself, all these things, where yes and no. I mean, it's like a nice flowery way to say it, but you do have to love yourself, and you do have to want to feel good, and you do have to want to realign all the time. And the more you do that, I think the stronger you get with that. But it is also understanding that you don't want to slip from that, because at any point, somebody can take over and slip in and have that mind control. We've talked about it like it's like a lower energy, or we can talk about it many different ways, because there's a million different ways to understand it, and ultimately use whatever method, imagery, verbiage works best for you, where you can love you and honor yourself and come from your highest and best, come from an open heart, so that you're not looking to get from outside yourself, so you're not having any expectations. And so that way you're not getting steered, right? If you're going into things looking to get from outside yourself, that's how you will be gotten. That's how people will get you. That's how they'll slip in and start fucking with your mind, which then fucks with your body and your emotional state, your nervous system. You just become totally dysregulated. And we don't like to think of it like that, that others can do that. But I don't know that that's benefit to do that, because, well, you allowed it. You believed it. You bought the sales pitch. You stopped loving you. You stopped aligning with yourself. You let others, think about that. How often do other people tell you who you are? Right? Or talk about you or gossip about you and spread a narrative. And then you start to believe the narrative. Oh, is that who I am? Oh, am I that? And you start behaving in ways that you're like, this does not even feel good or right. This isn't even me. How did I start doing this? Because you picked up on somebody else's narrative of who you were. You forgot who you were. And this is what can happen. And so this is the point. You have to love yourself and keep coming back to yourself and forgive yourself, because there's going to be a lot of times where you do slip from your alignment, and depending on who you are and where you've been up to this point in your life is going to determine how challenging, right? It can be more challenging for some of us than others, depending on what we've been through. And so that's okay. Everybody has their own challenges. It's just recognizing that so that you can then take the appropriate measures, right? Like somebody like you might need, a few different times during the day where you come back to yourself, where you take that 5-10 minutes to center yourself, to meditate, to quiet your mind, to come to your senses, to get clear, to, all these things. And I've shared with you, sometimes it feels like my entire day is It used to be very regimented because I needed that to get myself regulated. But then I would slowly slip from that regulation because I could, but then I would get gaslit again, right? And it's like, well, which is which, the chicken or the egg, right? Because we have to take accountability, right? It all starts and ends with us, right? It's easy to blame outside ourselves, but that's worthless to us. It's handing away our power. We're responsible. So we have to do the things. We have to know ourselves. We have to know what we can and cannot handle, what we can and cannot say yes or no to, what we can and cannot stop and when, and not beat ourselves up, right? I do that too, and I'm really hard on myself, and that has to stop too. It's like you have to find that balance within you. And you got to start somewhere. I think that's the hard thing too. I mean, it took me a long time to really regulate myself. And if I stayed stuck so long ago and didn't keep wanting and keep insisting and keep looking into stuff, God knows where I'd be. I've shared with you, I mean, it started way back when, even as a child, when I started going into the library and I started looking through the different books, and I would run into self-help books or question books that would open up my mind. And that's where I think it all began, where it was like, oh, thank God, right? Like there are other possibilities and other opinions and other beliefs. And it just, you start to go towards what feels better for you, what gives you that relief, that allows you to be more you without the feeling that others are judging you and are choosing to accept you or not, right? It's like learning, like, look, I love me and who I am, and I accept me, and it's okay that you don't, but I'm not going to stick around when you clearly don't, right? Like that they're forcing you to behave a certain way. They judge you, good or bad, and if you don't fit in the good bucket and behave in a way that they deem good and right, then you're bad, you're going to be judged, and you're going to be told who you are or who you're supposed to be. And so you have to love yourself enough to not stay in those types of environments. But again, I don't know if I said in this one or the previous one, but yeah, you also have to get to a place of recognizing where they're at, right? And what is their mental state and their nervous system state that they feel the need to want to control you and to pigeonhole you and put you in that box, right? Like what must be going on inside of them that they truly need to control you to feel at peace within them, right? Like what is that? Right, so it's not justifying or excusing that, but it's understanding that they're clearly, it's the idea of like they're being controlled by a demon, a devil for sure. But they're the very people who will claim you are, right? So it's like just, you don't need to pick up the rope. You don't need to argue with them. You don't need to get involved in their drama or their desire to rope you in. You have to drop that and love yourself so much that you move past it and just recognize, don't call them bad or evil, or even if it's like you understand it is the verbiage or idea of like a demon sleeping in or the devil, it's a lower energy. It's just recognize that for that's what it is versus looking at that as bad, right? Because we've all been there, but some worse than others, but that's also implying that they really don't love themselves. Okay. Thanks so much for tuning in and listening. You can now purchase an audio journey with me using the link below.